have led to a top 10 ranking preseason in Elliott Avent's encore year. Today, the Davidson Wildcats, playing their final season as a member of the SoCon, will try to halt the Pack's
leading 10-1 today against Appalachian State in the midweek game. Really jumped on the Mountaineers early. And apparently no one has thrown Jalen Davis a slide. Mero one.
As we get a look at Andrew Wick getting loose in the NC State bullpen behind Patrick Peterson.
And Wick, the experienced senior, was a junior college transfer last year, kind of a moment of truth guy for NC State. I guess the way you would describe a fireman back in the 70s. He's going to come in and put out a fire. He doesn't necessarily get a save. He's not a closer, but deployed whenever Tom Holliday wants to put a fire out.
6-1 lead for NC State. Looks
Elliott Avent has seen enough, and the key again was leadoff hitter had a 1-2 count. Patrick Peterson could not put him away, and he winds up only going 4 innings. And as you said, Patrick just couldn't quite stand prosperity.
Yep. It'll be Wick coming in for NC State. It's a 6-3 Wolfpack lead, but trouble brewing as the Wildcats have scored a couple. In comes Wick to try and guard the lead. Davidson included a 2-run looper by David Daniels, and the Wildcats, which just surrendered 5 runs to allow NC State to take a 6-1 lead, well, they're right back in this one. 6-3 the score, and the new pitcher for NC State is right-hander Andrew Wick. And the Pack has gone to Wick several times this year. 3rd appearance so far, 3 1/3 innings for Wick, and just 1 hit allowed, John Manuel.
Yeah, he's got a very aggressive demeanor that suits him very well in the bullpen. Comes out of the bullpen throwing a lot of strikes, earned a trusted role last year, and there you see off to a good start this year. 10 outs so far without a walk, without a run allowed, 4 strikeouts. That's what you want out of a crucial setup kind of guy that he's been the last year plus now for the Wolfpack and pitching coach Tom Holliday. He attacks hitters, got the fastball, got good off-speed stuff, and isn't afraid to throw the ball in the strike zone. So first and second, nobody out, Patrick, and Dick Cook is out. He doesn't usually coach a base, but having a extended discussion, it appears, with our third base umpire.
A longtime head coach for the Davidson Wildcats, Dick Cook, who's about to head back to the dugout here for Davidson. Just wanted a word with Randall Doolin, the third base umpire, but this is a Davidson team trying to overcome adversity, but nothing to the extent of what Dick Cook has overcome over the last couple of years.
He still has a little hitch in his giddy up, to quote Bo Jackson, but nothing like last year. That he needed a crutch to do what he's doing.
In September of 2012, he was in just an awful car accident where he was rear-ended by a car going about 90 miles an hour.
Drunk driver.
He was cruising down the road about 65 or 70. Drunk driver hits him, spins him out, breaks his kneecaps, punctures a lung, and some trauma to the head as well. Life-threatening injuries for Dick Cook, who is, again, kind of the dean on campus for the Wildcat program, and miraculously survives, heals, and continues to lead this Wildcat program. And you said last year when they came here, he had to carry a special stool that he sat on during the game. And he came to Raleigh today without this stool, which is another sign of improvement.
It is. He had a stool he had to sit on during the game last year. He had a crutch he had to use. He couldn't throw BP. He told me last year, the column I wrote on baseballamerica.com, he has to be a part of the team physically. He's got to throw some batting practice, got to hit some fungos to really feel like a coach. And he's started to do a little bit of that this year. He said he went to the Wake Forest game last week without his stool. He forgot it. He meant to bring it, but it didn't bother him, so he didn't bring it today either. So he might return to the stool later. We'll try to keep you posted on that as the season progresses.
Well, Lowe will bat as the tying run in the 5th. It's 6-3 NC State.
But Dickie Cook,
Dick Cook is just so well respected in this game.
Yeah, he's been an integral member of coaching staffs over at USA Baseball. I mean, he's well regarded in college baseball, and Davidson program's a solid program.
And a 5th straight hit for the Wildcats as Lowe strokes one to right. They will hold Brant at third base, and the bases are loaded for Davidson. First hit of the game for Lowe, so the hit parade continues by the Wildcats. And a good swing on this pitch by Lowe. It just yanks the fastball that was up through the right side.
And then Andrew Wick, that's his reputation. He comes at hitters. He attacks hitters. And so you have to be ready. And Ryan Lowe was ready. And this is Ryan Lowe, a player whose forte so far this year has been drawing walks. 7 walks coming into the game and set a program record with 4 in a game the other day. So a nice adjustment by him to not be passive and know the opposing pitcher and attack.
And now the cleanup hitter, 40er, as he fouls one down against his foot.
And you can see Davidson has the scouting report on Wick is out. He's going to be in the strike zone. He's going to attack you. You better be ready, because they're not sitting there waiting for him to throw a strike. They're attacking fastballs.
Yeah, it tells you where Elliott Avent feels his team is right now, going to the experienced veteran out of his bullpen in a midweek game with a lead in the middle innings. He wants Wick to take care of business right away. 40er, 0 for 2 officially. Gets jammed, sends one through the middle. This could be two. Turner the flip, Ratledge the replay, but it's in the dirt and past Hood. Brandt is in, Daniels behind him, and it's now a 6-5 contest. So the inability there of Ratledge to get enough on that throw bounced it past the new first baseman of Hood, and here come the Wildcats. It's 4 runs, and it's a 1-run NC State lead.
Yeah, that play developed slower than it should have. That should have been a routine double play. Fourier doesn't run great, and you see just everything was fine until Ratledge just kind of, it's almost like he held the ball on too long. Nice job, I thought, again by Lowe to get down there, put some pressure on him as he did earlier in the game on the slide at second. But it's a play that Ratledge should make, and Hood new to first base, unable to dig it.
So Fourier is now at second base at the tie-in run. 1 RBI for him on that ground ball, and both errors for NC State on its second baseman Ratledge here today.
So right now, if you're Elliott Avent, you're feeling pretty good about your shortstop defensively, and the other 3 spots you're wondering. You've played 5 different guys at first base. Your junior veteran second baseman's got a little dicey right now, turning 2. And the most important job for second baseman defensively is turn the double play.
That pivot, absolutely.
I mean, that is the number 1 priority. And Andrew Kinzer's been, he's got talent, but he's a freshman. He's been a little dicey at third base. So, you want to have these problems in February so they can get better in April and May. You don't want these cropping up later in the year.
Wick on 0-2 to Becker. And that fastball was low. Just 1 error coming into the game for Ratledge over the first 7 contests. 2, though, today, and both on throws from second base.
Yeah, you give a little credit again there to Ryan Lowe. He's gone in hard at second base both times, hustling down there, doing what fundamental part of baseball, sliding hard at second base as a runner.
Now the 1-2. And that's lifted foul off of the infield. Austin sheds the mask and puts it away. Becker is 0 for 3. And that'll bring Sam Foy to the plate, who's had a very good all-around game so far for the Wildcats, needing a 2-out hit to try and tie things up.
Yeah, he's played well defensively, and he had a line drive single in the second inning. But this is why Wick is in the game, to try to minimize this damage. And he rolled the double play ground ball. Could be a 6-4 game still. There's the pop up. This is the role that Andrew Wick established himself in last year, and he did it in a very crowded bullpen. Patrick, they had a ton of options for Tom Holliday and Elliott Avent in that bullpen last year. Wick still was, as a newcomer, able to establish himself and carrying that over this year into 2014.
Foy 1 for 2. Stolen a couple of hits with his glove as he takes strike 1.
Wick with the hardest pitch of the day on the radar gun today, 91 miles an hour. So he's trying to pick up Patrick Peterson and trying to vulture a victory here if he can keep this game from being tied, and if NC State can reestablish its offense in the bottom half. 1
strike pitch. Chases up high, 0-2, and you go back to rebuild this entire inning. Started on a little bloop single by Dyer on a ball where it looked like Bubby Riley was playing too far back in left field. Pope's line drive just cleared Ratledge's leap at second, and then Brandt popped up a bunt that landed on the third base grass, and Kisner gloved it up and had no play. That ball may or may not have gone foul, but it's kind of been the look of this inning offensively for the Wildcats, which now has come to a close. Wick strikes out Foy to end the inning, but a 4-run fifth for the Davidson Wildcats. And here a look at some of those soft hits, but they all fall in play. This one, the 2-run single by Daniels, leads to a 4-run frame for the Wildcats, who now trail NC State on the road by 1. Still a 1-run lead for NC State, and a very busy day in A. 5 runs, and then they leave the bases loaded against Whitmire in the bottom of the 5th. Still a 1-run lead for NC State, and a very busy day in AC. Top of the 6th, Wick is still on the mound for NC State, and it's the bottom 3 in the order scheduled for Davidson. And the first pitch from Wick is outside for a ball. And Davidson sends up Lee Miller to bat here for Robertson. And Miller has been really all-worldly for Davidson in the first week and a half of this regular season for the Wildcats. Again, their first series against Buffalo canceled due to rain, so they're 3 games short. As Miller fouls one in the air to Kisner's direction, it'll go back into the stands.
I have to imagine that it was hard for Buffalo to get out of Buffalo for that weekend series. Even if Davidson's field had been cleared, Buffalo probably had a 1.5 feet, 2 feet of snow at that point. Just the middle of February, it was just so telling 2 years ago. I will never forget it because talking to the Monmouth players that year about how they'd had practice outdoors every day, and it was the first time that it ever happened for Monmouth up in New Jersey. And that was a great mild winter 2 years ago, and Stony Brook went to the College World Series. And it was not a coincidence. It helped. Stony Brook was a talented team, but they got off to a good start. They got to practice a lot. Next thing you know, they're beating LSU at Alex Box Stadium.
This one's hooked down into the right field corner, and that'll be a foul ball. Well struck ball by Miller, but a little bit out ahead of that breaking pitch from Wick.
But Northern baseball, you had Stony Brook to Omaha 2 years ago. You also had Kent State that year out of the MAC. And then, of course, last year, Indiana out of the Big Ten. Yep. First Big Ten team to Omaha since 1984, and Barry Larkin in Michigan. So I always say Barry Larkin. What about Chris Sabo screaming? What about me over here? But Northern baseball, Northern teams have come a long way in college baseball. I have a feeling this year is going to be a really tough year for Northern clubs because the winter was just so hard. Yep. They're just so far behind, even where they usually have been.
2-2 from Wick, and down goes Miller, who had 6 hits in the first couple of games of the year for Davidson, 6 out of 7, including a big game against Wake Forest. But look at him chase that changeup that fades away from the left-handed hitter. Excellent pitch by Wick.
It's a real weapon for a right-handed pitcher to have against a lefty bat like that, especially because we just saw he was out in front of your breaking ball, your off-speed pitch last time. Maybe he's geared up for a fastball. Miller certainly looked geared up for the fastball. Wick fakes him out with the change.
0-1 now on Dyer. 6-5, NC State. We're in the 6th.
It looks like Virginia has lost that game. They've gone finally, lost 3-2 to VMI.
0-2 now on Dyer.
That is a pretty substantial upset. VMI did have a pitcher whose name's escaping me throw a no-hitter earlier this year. And VMI opened the year down in Wilmington. They played the home Seahawks. Virginia, I believe, was actually in that tournament, and Kentucky. So they've played good caliber competition so far, but a pretty big upset in a midweek game there.
0-2 pitch. Dyer checks up on the hard slider, and the appeal denied down at first base. NC State in the middle of a nice homestand here. They will not go on the road until March the 11th. They will have Michigan coming in here later this week, UCLA. They'll play them in Cary at a neutral site on March the 1st.
That's a big Notre Dame tournament over there at USA Baseball Complex.
And a beautiful slider there by a Wick to freeze Dyer. Watch this one dive the last few inches and cut across the plate.
Yeah, and again, it's been a wide strike zone, not necessarily a high strike zone, but Dyer, he's has not gotten that call himself a couple times, and a little frustrating that he was rung up on that pitch, but nice execution by Wick.
So at 2 outs, here's Pope. Single and 2 at-bats here today.
Yeah, nice matchup on Saturday over at USA between the Wolfpack and Bruins, the defending national champs who, of course, beat NC State last year in Omaha.
And this one will be handled by Armstrong and right. Pope flies out on the first pitch. And there is the second 3-up-and-out inning by an NC State pitcher today. So Wick settles things down. Middle of 6. NC State leads Davidson by 1. Davidson by 2, 7-5 as we reach nearly sunset in the top of the 7th inning from downtown Raleigh. And Wick is going to stay on the mound for NC State. He came on after Patrick Peterson surrendered 4 straight hits in the top of the 5th when he was out there gunning for the win. We talked about it after the long 5-run inning by NC State in the bottom of the 4th, gave a 6-1 lead. Maybe that extra time on the dugout bench and being a couple of 3 outs away from a win got inside Peterson, but 4 batters later he was out. Wick came in. He has not surrendered the mound since.
And Wick is not a stranger to longer outings. He threw 3 innings against Canisius in his first outing of this season. He threw 3 innings several times in his first year here at NC State. in 2013. Actually went 3 1/3 in a couple of outings last year. So, again, he's a kind of a Swiss Army knife in the bullpen for pitching coach Tom Holliday and for Elliott Avon. He can go short. He can go deeper in a game. And that versatility and, again, that strike-throwing ability, such a weapon and such a security blanket for a pitching coach to go to in the bullpen, someone that you trust, who's experienced, and who throws strikes.
Yeah, this will be a big inning for Wick and NC State as the 7th gets underway. He's yet to see these first 2 hitters in his outing so far, but we know how much that Forrest Brandt means to this Davidson offense with his ability to get on base and make things happen. As you look at Brandt's numbers today, 2 hits and 3 ABs.
Yeah, the bunt single was a key part of that 4-run 5th inning. He loaded the bases with nobody out and made it go from a little bit of a quell to a real uprising. He swings and misses at the 0-1.
Daniels on deck and then Lowe as we play the 7th inning. And here's Wick to the plate. And that is hit right behind his heels through the middle. On it is Ratledge. Against the body throw, not in time. And there's the speed once again as Brandt able to leg it out down the line. Excellent range shown by Ratledge and good arm strength.
Yeah, and nice job again by Brandt. Like you said, just this is an out most of the time, but it's the second time that he's legged out a hit. Nice stretch over at first base. And I believe that's a new first baseman for the Wolfpack. Mm-hmm. No more Nathan Hood, our 3rd first baseman of the game for NC State.
So as the top of the 7th gets underway, the tie-in run will come up here for NC State.
That's Armstrong.
For Davidson, as Armstrong goes to first base for the Pack. And Suggs, the new outfielder for NC State, playing right. So Armstrong in from right field to play first, as Elliott Avon can't afford any more miscues over there at first base.
And Garrett Suggs is a freshman but an accomplished defender. Just talking to Coach Avon about him briefly this year. That's what stands out to him about Garrett Suggs, who was the Wake County High School Player of the Year last year.
Pitch on Daniels, try to get a bunt down, snap throw to first, got a shot, and just in is Brandt. Excellent throw by Austin.
That was well done by Austin, especially with a new first baseman again in Armstrong. Snap throw, and let's take a look at the slide. And Armstrong actually it took a little time to make the catch and then apply the tag. Otherwise, a quicker tag might have been an out.
1-1 count on Daniels. Quick move over. Boy, Brandt is dancing with the devil over there at first base, is he not?
Yes, the 7th inning in a 2-run game. I understand you want to put pressure on the opposing defense, but you might want to just take a step lead right now after the snap throw and the quick, nice pickoff move by Wick.
Ball and a strike. Brandt, little tighter lead this time, but still a fairly close play again.
And Daniels has the hardest hit ball for Davidson all day, and it wasn't the 2-run single. It was the double in the first inning, but that ball was fairly crushed to deep left center field. The ball does carry in that part of the ballpark here at the Doak, but the ball was hit hard and squared up against Peterson in the first inning.
1-1, cut and a miss at a breaking ball. So Armstrong, the new first baseman for NC State, in from right. Suggs to play right field. That's where he started both Friday and Saturday against Appalachian State. Armstrong started at first base in that Mountaineer series as well. 2-run lead for the Wolfpack in the 7th. And Wick, another quick move and a bullet to first base that almost went past Armstrong. Nine hits apiece. NC State trailed briefly today. Davidson a run in the first. The Pack tied in the bottom half, scored 5 in the 4th to go up 6-1. Breaking ball, hit up the middle, Turner range and plays a tough hop. The wheel and the throw to first is going to get him. Fabulous play by Trey Turner through the middle. And there was so many elements to this play, not only the range, not only the arm strength, but watch this last hop. It's behind him.
It's just body control. He has tremendous body control, and that's what allows him to take his athleticism and parlay it into playmaking ability. So many guys have athleticism, but they don't have the body control to stay in the infield dirt. Trey Turner, we have a video at baseballamerica.com. He made a very similar play on the first day of the season against Canisius. His range to his left is outstanding. He's really improved his arm strength, and it's the body control that allows him to do all those complicated things and still stay in control, not be fallen over, make the throw accurate, and have something on it. That's the separator for him. Mm-hmm. That's why I think the scouts I've talked to, they're more and more convicted that he can stay at shortstop at the pro level. That was a great play.
So here's Lowe with one out runner at second, and a straight change is missed by Lowe. And, back to this game just for a second. If that ball gets past Turner, tying runs are on, nobody out, and maybe Wick might be on his last batter or two. So that's just how important that play was that Turner just made.
And also, he didn't try to do anything spectacular and try to make some kind of flip throw or just glove it to second base. He made the play that he could make, and it helped his team. And eventually, when you do those things, as a baseball player, will help you. Patrick, you've done a million minor league baseball games. So many times in the minors, you see this players do kind of the selfish thing because it's a team sport, but you're competing in some ways with your teammates for that race to the big leagues. That was not a selfish play. That was a play to help his team win a game. Right. And that was a nice play by Trey Turner all the way around.
Ball and a strike on Lowe, one out. And the pitch from Wick is low, 2-1. Yeah, a guy I've seen recently who has kind of developed from a selfish defensive shortstop to an unselfish defensive shortstop is a guy like Tim Beckham of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Great example.
Which would try to really force that spectacular play
exactly.
Really with no business. And now as he's gotten a little bit older, played some more games, and understands what's important to his team, he's been able to kind of pick up on that. 2-2 on Lowe.
That was the best thing that Tim Beckham did in 2013. Number one overall pick. I always had this pressure, and I think he's always tried to live up to it. And after Hak-Ju Lee was hurt for Durham last year, he just played a routine shortstop and made the routine play, and that helped his team, and it made people think more highly of Tim Beckham. Trey Turner can make the routine play. He just showed us the spectacular, too.
Here's the 2-2, a little bit low, and it's a full count with the cleanup man. 40 next. Still work to do here for Wick in the 7th. 7-5 NC State.
Yeah, this is pretty. And again, we talked about the infield defense for NC State. Again, nice stretch also at first base by Armstrong. But the infield defense has let both teams down at times. So the really nice play really does stick out, and we'll see if NC State can take advantage of it and get out of this inning.
Lowe a hit and a walk in the game in 3 plate appearances.
Fortier does have 2 RBIs on deck, although both times they've been on fielder's choices, at least by the way I'm keeping them. Are you giving them RBI credit?
I am, absolutely. Right. A check of second, Wick's 3-2, and that's Lowe. So the tying run does reach in the 7th for Davidson. A walk to Lowe, who's on for the 3rd time, and now you get the freshman in a tough spot in the lineup. You know, if you're a Dick Cook and you're plugging your freshman in as the cleanup hitter in a game on the road against an ACC team like NC State, he has full faith that Fortier can come through. Well, here's his moment.
Yeah, this is a pretty big moment. I almost wonder if Wick pitched around Lane there to an extent. He did not give in with fastballs. Came with breaking balls with 2 strikes. I think he was confident in his ability to face Fortier and go right on right, because I was surprised.
Yeah, I don't think he did, only because he had a couple of strikes on him, maybe trying to get him to expand the zone a little bit.
But even 3-2 to go with a breaking ball when he's so aggressive with the fastball with most hitters, I think he wanted to get him. He wasn't pitching around him, but he was also knowing that he had this guy on deck that he felt confident he could retire and maybe double up.
Yeah, well, if Wick can induce the ground ball, he's going to get through this inning. Here's the pitch. And he goes back to the slider, and it's a 1-1 count on Fortier.
Because Fortier has hit 2 balls that could have been double plays in this game. Like I said, I shouldn't say pitching around is too strong of a way to put it, but I thought that he knew in the back of his head, I'm going to make him beat me with my pitch and not give him a fastball because I've got Fortier on deck, the right matchup, and a guy that I think I can get out.
NC State by 2, tying runs on, and a late cut and a 91-mile-an-hour fastball.
And I say that, and Andrew Wick doesn't make any decisions about what pitches he throws. That's all Tom Holliday, the pitching coach. He calls every pitch. In the fall, he lets the pitchers do that, but I've talked to him about this recently. He calls those pitches because he's been doing it for 30 years, and he trusts his ability to do it. And he's helped 3 teams get to the College World Series, so we probably should trust his ability to do it too. Did it at Oklahoma State, won a national title at Texas, and has done it did it at Oklahoma State as a head coach as well as an assistant coach, and now here at NC State.
1-2 pitch. A little flare. Tough play. Armstrong twists around. This lands in the right field grass. It's a base hit. Brandt will be held at third. And the Wolfpack pitchers have seen plenty of those so far today. But it lands about 2 feet out in the right field grass. It was a really good pitch by Wick, who got the fastball or the location of that slider where he needed it to be. And is muscled down. Bases loaded. On another base hit from 48.
One unusual hit. You just don't see that too often.
Looked like a sand wedge.
It really was just almost placed perfectly, like it was tossed out there by Fortier, but he really hasn't had a good at-bat yet, and he's 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And Davidson right in the middle of this game, down 2, but with Becker up the plate with the bases full.
And a grand slam in his last game against Mount St. Mary's. He bats with the bases loaded, down 2 against NC State. 0 for 3 today, and Wick misfires wide with a fastball.
And this is Wick's inning. There's very little action in the NC State bullpen. There's a pitcher standing out beyond the mound, but he's not throwing. So this is up to Andrew Wick.
Brandt, Lowe, and Fortier are the base runners. NC State back at double play depth. Here's the pitch. And a good fastball there, framed on the edge. 1-1 on Becker.
The velocity has been very consistent for Wick. If you're looking for any signs of fatigue, I think he's located fairly well this inning as well, Patrick, so he doesn't show any fatigue there, but he's 89-91 consistently with the fastball, on the stadium gun. So he's consistent. Whether the gun's accurate or not, he's been consistent in that range.
The pitch to Becker. Swing and a miss on a change away, 1-2.
Now again,
there's a look at the NC State bullpen. You see DJ Thomas beginning to throw.
I think he's gotten loose before and just kind of staying loose right now. But I would imagine you would stiffen up pretty quickly in the way the weather is out there, with getting cool and dropping below 50, like you said.
1-2 from Wick. Gets him chasing, and down goes Becker. And there are 2 outs in the 7th inning. NC State still up by 2.
Well, the key pitch so often in these at-bats is that 1-1. And he was able to get that 1-1 changeup and get ahead in the count at 1-2. Then he had lots of different choices, went with the fastball, missed the location, but Becker was looking for a fastball, chased, and Wick is 1 out away from getting out of it.
And really the first time that Becker saw anything, waste or up in that entire at-bat, and he was overmatched. Here's Foy, 2 outs, swings through the fastball. And as large as that strikeout of Becker is to stymie a big inning, it even keeps Davidson from getting to within 1. If Becker makes outfield contact, lifts a fly ball, makes it a 1-run game. But right now the Wildcats still need a base hit to tie things up. 1 strike to Foy. And he misses that change away, 0-2.
Yeah, 8 strikeouts so far for NC State pitching, and they've come in some crucial moments, and NC State has needed them because their defense has not been efficient. So keeping the ball from being in play has been a smart move for the Wolfpack pitching staff today. You always want to minimize the hard contact, but it's the soft contact that has so often gotten the Wolfpack in trouble today.
2 outs, bases loaded, 2 strike to Foy, marginally outside from Wick.
Definitely hit the mitt, but the mitt was set up out of the zone, so far enough out of the zone to not get the call today.
And there's the Austin glancing to his right into the NC State dugout. Gets the pitch call from Tom Holliday. And ready is Wick on a 1-2. And it's a breaking ball pulled toward right field. Armstrong surrounds it, flips to Wick, and NC State out of the inning. And how huge was L.A. David switching Armstrong, bringing him in from right field. And the stretch on the ground ball that Turner stopped up the middle to save a base runner. And an excellent range by Armstrong on that play as well to keep NC State in the lead. Here's the Turner play. Here's the stretch on the back end by Armstrong. And NC State, because of that, still up by 2. And a big bridge he has to cross here in this 8th with a 2-run cushion. 7-5, NC State leading.
And Wick's been effective. He worked his way into and out of trouble last inning, but he's got 4 strikeouts. He's thrown a lot of strikes. He does have the 1 walk, but to me, Andrew Wick, it's a little bit of a surprise that he's going this deep in this game, considering that NC State does have a pretty competitive weekend coming up in the Notre Dame USA Baseball affair over at the National Training Complex with Michigan and UCLA on the docket. Believe Carlos Rodon's going to throw the Saturday game against the Bruins, which moves him back a day, but I would save him for UCLA too.
Swing and a miss against Lee Miller as the 8th gets underway. Yeah, it's pretty good coaching right there.
Yeah,
the best against the defending national champions.
Absolutely. No, and I think there are going to be a lot of scouts at that game because Rodon will be on a Saturday. A lot of scouts go to see other guys on Friday night, and they'll come see Carlos on Saturday. and they'll come see UCLA.
Ball and a strike on Miller, who again did not start this game, but came on defensively after pinch hitting in the sixth inning. But he's been the most consistent offensive Wildcat so far this year. Bats with an open stance, holds back, and Wick once again still settling in that 89 to 91 range with his fastball, and no activity behind him in the NC State pen. Again, he came on in the fifth.
Yeah, we've only seen DJ Thomas even throwing lightly out there, if at all. So no one else has warmed up, and Wick, again, the velocity's still been firm.
Here's the 2-1, and that's upstairs. So we will watch him now as he crosses that 50-pitch threshold. But again, the reason you still are seeing Wick out here, right now you're in the middle of a gaggle of right-handed hitters once you get past Miller. Dyer and Pope and Brandt and Daniels, the next four guys, all will bat right-handed. But he loses the lefty as Miller draws a 5-pitch walk to start the eighth inning. And we'll see if that will engender any action in the NC State pen.
It already has. You know, all the NC State relief pitchers were sitting at a 2-1 pitch. The 2-1 missed to make a 3-1. Everyone stood up, and now they're all standing, and some guys are starting to lightly throw. So getting the leadoff walk definitely started some action in the NC State bullpen. No one on the mound yet. Everyone's jacket's still on.
So here's Dyer, 1 for 3. Double play target as Wick finds the inside corner. But credit to the Wildcats. They fell behind after the big grand slam by Shepard in the fourth. Battled right back, and they put a couple more scares into Wick since. But Wick, to his credit, has been able to stiff arm them. 1-strike pitch. That's in the dirt.
Again, a very aggressive secondary lead by the Wildcat base runners. We've seen Austin snap throw to first. Might be something to keep an eye on here with Lee Miller taking a pretty aggressive lead. You need 2 runs, not 1.
Runner holds, 1-1 pitch. A good cut and a foul by Dyer. Seven to 5, NC State leading Davidson. Wildcats stranded, the bases loaded last inning. And there's Jake Armstrong holding on Miller, one of the big reasons why Davidson was held at bay. And that pitch came up, and did it hit him? Oh, it looked like it did hit him, but it looked like the home plate umpire, Bryant Woodall, said that the batter leaned into that pitch. Chicken winged it, and that's going to get Dick Cook out of the dugout one more time for Davidson, and this is not going to go well for Bryant Woodall.
Now, this has been a point of emphasis for the NCAA the last couple of years as guys moving into the pitch. I do think that Dyer did that. My take is that Chris Dyer tried to get hit by this pitch right here, the way he moves his arm in. That ball really wasn't inside. I thought he turned into the pitch. I think it's the right call, and Dick Cook didn't argue that long, but on a night where a lot of calls have not gone Davidson's way, you can see the reaction of the teammates. I think things are there might be some frustration from other calls.
So it's a 2-2 count now in the pitch from Wick, and that is a little bit low. Now it's full.
Maybe Dyer got himself a pitch there because that pitch, that looked good.
Oh, what a big pitch this is going to be for Wick at NC State. Full count. Miller at first base. Nobody out. We'll see if they start Miller to try and stay out of a double play. He will hold. And the 3-2 is a double play ball out to second base. Ratledge to Turner. And not starting the runner. Kills off the Wildcat rally in the eighth.
Can you tell Patrick Keenis has watched some baseball in his lifetime? He called it. Dyer, the 8-hole hitter, he's a catcher. This ball's hit fairly hard, but right to Ratledge and Trey Turner. The easier turn for a shortstop, but turns it with some deliberation, makes sure he gets a lot on that throw. He knew the catcher was running. Accurate, strong throw. For the first time today, a team turns a double play.
So 2 outs for Wick, and here's Andrew Pope, number 9 hitter in the order. Pope 1 for 3. And a Wick, a fastball at 92, up and out of the zone. 7-5 NC State.
I'm just going to say one more time, nicely done, Patrick Keenis. I'm completely with you. You're going to be aggressive with your secondary leads at first base. You got to send the runner there, in my mind, if you're going to have that mindset to stay out of the double play, and it bites Davidson.
And Pope shortening on the bat lets that one go to the backstop. Because, again, you just don't know how many chances you're going to get if you're Dick Cook.
And with Wick being a guy who throws a lot of fastballs, he has gotten some strikeouts, but this is his 4th inning of work. Maybe even more parts of the calculation that go into send that runner. Easy for us to say now, but you said it before.
Strike 1 on Pope, 2-1. Davidson will at least get through the top 3 hitters in the order, and you get a look at the NC State bullpen. And, yeah, they might have been a little bit more plugged in after that leadoff walk, but now the guys are kind of hanging out with 2 outs and nobody on as Pope fouls one off.
Meanwhile, Andrew Wick a strike away from getting through 4 innings of relief. You wonder if State would just leave him out there for the 5th and just finish it up. I mean, what's the difference?
I was surprised he came out for the 7th inning.
Oh, this is his longest outing of his college career, at least at NC State here at 3 2/3.
2-2. That's off the end of the bat foul. Elliott Avent has pressed enough correct buttons here today. Not all of them, but again, the move with Armstrong right in the middle of your screen was larger than just about any of them here today, along with starting Chance Shepard as the DH. That's really helped.
By the way, the NC State baseball equipment folks who tweet at NC State Baseball EQ have informed me that is definitely coffee in Elliott Avent's hand tonight. So
full count, 3-2.
Maybe he's pulling a PJ Carey. Not in his hand currently. Nice shot, though, by the camera folks. Keeping me honest. But yeah, Elliott did have coffee earlier in the early innings, and I wouldn't blame him if it was very strong coffee.
Maybe hand warmers in his gloves right about now.
Absolutely.
Payoff pitch. Strikes out Pope. That's the 5th by a Wick, and he's cleanly through the 8th. But the double play ball off of the bat of Dyer kills off the rally. Came on a 3-2 pitch with Miller not running. And there you see hearty congratulations from Elliott Avent. That is a phenomenal effort by Andrew Wick. We will head to the last of the 8th. NC State by 2.